Okay, guys. So right now, I just want to talk about um not worrying about black women anymore and just live your life. Okay. And when I say not worry about black women, I'm really pretty much talking about all black women, 100% of black women at this point, of brown women, however you want to describe. I just say black because of how the word that people are used to in the United States of America. Okay. But I say to start worrying about black women, and I mean 100%, unless it's somebody that somebody that you know their character, somebody in your family, or it could be somebody that you're led, you feel like you're spirit led to help. It could be something like that too. So it's nothing wrong with being kind to other, black identified women or brown women that you see in the streets or whatever. But as far as this is just what I'm doing right now, and I just suggest other people kind of do the same, is to worry more about your own spiritual growth, worry about your own physical health and stable mental state of mind, worry about your own finances, and worry about your own gifts. This is a time where you just really, and I do too, so I'm going to say this is a time where we just need to worry about kind of perfecting ourselves. I know that we can't be perfect, but this is the time for us to concentrate more on perfecting ourselves and not being so concerned of black women right now, brown women, however you want to describe them. Because I said in previous audios that because so many black women rejected wisdom, that they are starting to devolve. They have took on the consciousness of a lot of the black men that have abused them. They have taken on that consciousness, right? And now they are starting to become low, like a lot of these men that we see around gas stations, and that they're becoming low like that, okay? So that's why I say cut yourself off from them spiritually, psychologically. It's best for you to cut yourself off from them. Because when you cut yourself off, and I'm talking about from the majority of them, I'm not talking about somebody who is know how to think straight, know how to use common sense, I'm not talking about just cut yourself off from those who do what's best for them. But for the most part, just cut yourself off spiritually from a lot of black women, because black women, I've been seeing it for a long time. And other women that are now underground already know this. I'm going to be honest with you. They already said it. They already know it. Black women, have agreed to sacrifice herself, sacrifice her life, and sacrifice her image for black men to rise up. Okay? And so, with that being said, you see this with all of the memes with these paintings, especially since Black Lives Matter, you see all these paintings of black women being at the forefront, protecting the men. Okay? So she's agreed to be the sacrifice. Okay? And if you're spiritually connected to a woman like that, then by default, you're going to catch whatever she catch. That's why I'm telling you right now to just disconnect from them. I'm not saying distance yourself from them. If you're in the United States of America, maybe you can't help but to be around them. But to spiritually, psychologically, mentally disconnect yourself from, I won't even say a lot. I just have to say majority. Got to be over 90% of black women to just get away from. Okay? And so I'm not concerned with what black women can do. I'm not concerned with little girls right now, because they're in the care of these very same black women who sacrifice them. Not all of them. Now, you do have some decent black mothers, but for the most part, You know, a lot of these little girls that we care about are in the possession of these types of mothers, right? And so what's happening, I'm going to tell you something that's happening now. You have some black women that have, you know, awakened to how a lot of black men are, right? But now here's the problem. They are now co-signing the foolery of other black women who, for example, they are co-signing the foolery of the mother of Malia Davis, okay, who was with an abuser for years. He's tried to kill her, you know, but somehow she still left her child with this man, you know. And so, yeah, you have a right to kind of call that out, okay? You have a right to call that out. But you know, you have some women that want to put some responsibility on this mother too, although we already know that man deserved to get life, okay, in prison. We already know he deserved to be executed, right? We already know that. But nobody really wants to point the finger at this mother. Nobody really wants, well, I'm not going to say nobody. I'm going to say you got a pretty good number of black women that don't want to point the finger at this mother. And I'm talking about those black women who have now, they've somewhat awakened to how black men are, even though they still deal with them. They somehow awakened to how, they have, for the most part, awakened to how black men are, okay? They're waking up to the predatory behaviors of a lot of the males, okay? But they have not yet understood that a lot of these mothers, a lot of these women are co-signing what these guys do. And the reason why these guys have been able to do what they do for so long is because so many black women have co-signed it. That is why. And so that's why I say just leave at this point. Just don't even worry about black women, period. Don't even worry about black women, period. Okay? Because the ones that have walked away from what you would call Blackistan and the toxic black non-community, you know, yeah, they walk away from that, but they still, and then they get on the divestment side, but they still co-sign the foolery of a lot of these other women, because now they become like how men do, but blame everything 100% on the guys when a lot of it's on black women too. And so now they just want to point at everything black men are doing, but it's hard for them to see what black women are doing. So, you know, they're going to drink the Kool-Aid. Women like that want to kind of find excuses for what these women do. And just want to blame everything on black men and want to co-sign everything these women do, after we clearly see that they are sacrificing their children and they have sacrificed themselves. Okay, and we clearly see that. But now you got women on, and I'm talking about women on the divestment side now, that have left the toxic. They say that they have left the toxic black non-community, but part of leaving the toxic black non-community is acknowledging that it is a majority of a lot of black women that are toxic as well. Okay, it's a majority. I can't even say it's a majority that are toxic. And because a lot of them don't want to see it that way, but they've understood how black men are, but they don't want to see that a majority of black women are very toxic. They're going to drink that Kool-Aid. They might just drink that Kool-Aid that these other ladies are going to get, who have decided to sacrifice themselves for the black men to rise up. Okay, they're gonna end up drinking that Kool-Aid along with them. Okay. And so that's why I'm just encouraging you right now to leave the majority with just leave black women alone. Unless you have a friend, unless you know somebody, you know, unless you know somebody, you know, you can have a family member that you know has a head on straight. But for the most part, you can't worry about black women no more. And you certainly can't worry about the girls, because most of those girls are in the possession of these mothers. Okay? So anyway, I wasn't going to go on long. Yeah, so focus on yourself. I'm going to probably, I don't know how long it'll be before I even come back on YouTube. I just want to get this message out the way. Because I'm telling you to do what I'm doing, to not worry about black women anymore, and to just focus on perfecting yourself. You know, get into your authentic self, getting to know who you truly are, focusing on your gifts, on your craft, on your spiritual, mental, and physical health. That is the only thing right now that is best for you to focus on. Because even if you have children, if you work on every day perfecting yourself in those ways, then your children are going to benefit too. But worrying about other black women right now is a detriment to you. It's a detriment to your mind. It's a detriment to you psychologically. It's going to harm you worrying about black women right now. Let the bodies hit the floor. You know, last thing before I get off, I'm starting to see, you know, I saw a couple of black women. And when you get into the black neighborhoods, you do see black women walking around, you know, down and out, just like the males, even though you still see more males hanging around at gas stations and begging for money. But I'm just getting a feeling that now that black women, now that the ritual is complete, because I believe that ritual is complete now, I want you to catch this song by Solange called Almeda. It's a song by Solange called Almeda. And I want you to look at the part where Solange is laying on this thing and going in a circle, and she looked like she's broken, like her leg is broken, but you know she's flexible. But she looked like she fell from somewhere, and her leg is broken, like she just fell from something, you know, and it's going around in a circle. You see these ladies, and because some of you know about the mirror dimension, and they doing this thing with the black, red, and green flag with their hand, and they're in a mirror dimension, and the ladies are wearing like a Black Panther black leather outfit. But you see the black man fully dressed with this coat on, and you see the darkest one looking like he's a king. You don't see no woman, no black woman nowhere in that video looking like she's a queen. But you see this black man rising up. It look like you see a couple of them dressed up in suits in a corporate office. And then you see a very, very dark black man with diamond teeth, like with diamond looking teeth. And he's wearing this big coat. Well, no, you see a very dark one. African looking man with this black coat, and he looks extremely tall. And look like he's like lifted back on top, like he's some kind of king. You didn't see any black woman in that video that looked like that. Okay? So I believe that the ritual has been complete. And I just get a strange feeling that you're going to see more black women hanging out at these gas stations than you see black men. Okay? Because they have decided to switch places with black men. And if you continue to be so concerned about black women, and I'm talking about all of them, if you continue to be concerned about black women at this point, you are subject to taking a fall, okay? Because that means that you are still connected to black women. I'm telling you to disconnect from black women. Disconnect from them, like you have nothing to do with them, like you don't have any, like you don't relate to them. Disconnect. Because what it is that even though we didn't agree to these black women that's in these secret societies and all this stuff, although we did not agree to what they have done it. Okay, an example is, you know, when I would listen to these groups, one person is from the group called it was a group with Cisco. I forget the name of that group, but it was with the main singer was Cisco. He had that blonde hair. It was a black male group. I think it was 4 or 5 of them. You know, they came up with that song, Somebody's Sleeping in My Bed and all that stuff. I forget the name of that group. But here's what I want to say. So one of the members of that group said that it only takes one person from that group to sign a paper saying that they're going to sell out, and they sold out the whole group. Now they call it Illuminati, saying that they're going to sell out themselves for whatever gain they want to get, right? So one of the guys from the group said, even though he did not say out of his mouth he did not agree with it, because of one person in that group, because guess what? That group is still one. They're a team. They're one. So it only took one person in that group to say, yeah, I'm gonna do this for the such and such and such and such. And because that group is considered one, everybody else had to deal with the consequences of what that one group member made, because it only takes one. Okay? So this is why I'm telling you now. Even though we did not agree to a lot of things that these other black women agreed to, that's in these cults, entertainment industry, whatever you call them, because although we did not agree to it, if you still connected to black women right now, just like that guy in that group that was not aware of what happened and did not agree with it, he still dealt with the consequences of what one person in his group did, because they were still considered one. If you're still connected to black women right now, you're considered one. Regardless of what you agreed to, you are still considered one. And so whatever is coming for these black women is going to come for you too, unless you disconnect yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically, psychologically from black women. From a lot of them. You might just need to get away from your family. You might need to just move somewhere else. You might just need to get away from black women. Just get away from them. Okay? Because if you surround yourself with family members, then, and I know that's hard to do, so try to spend as less time as possible with certain family members that are black women. Definitely, of course, black men. But black women, I understand it's hard to just get away from your family. But try to be, that's why I say you know how they say your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town? That song about your body is here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. This what you got to get. You got to forget about black women. Because physically it just might be hard to separate from them, especially if they're in your family. When you go out places, physically it's difficult to separate from them. But everything else, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, you got to. If you don't, because I'm not going to say anything else after this, you got to separate from them, because they have made a decision for all black women. They have made this decision for all black women. Browns to women. Because thing is, you have some people that call themselves black and some people that don't call themselves black, because we know what black is. But the problem is, if you're still connected to the black women spiritually, then you're just going to be black too. Okay? So to not be black means that you need to disconnect from anything that's associated with black and the behaviors that come with this being black. You got to disconnect from it, period. And you got to disconnect from the people. Okay? But, yeah. So, no, what they have done is going to affect everybody who didn't even agree with it, because anybody who's connected to them is going to affect. Okay? So, that'll be it. But, yeah, there's nothing else to say at this point. Some people might agree, some people might disagree. But I do see black women switching places. I see them switching places with black men. And once again, I want you to check out this song by Solange called Almeda, A-L-M-E-D-A, Almeda. It's on YouTube. Solange, S-O-L-A-N-G-E, Solange Almeda. Just type it in on YouTube, and if I get a chance, because I'm driving. But when I get a chance, I'll put it I'll put it in the and maybe in the comment section. But I want you to get to the part where she looked like she's laying on this thing and she's going in a circle and like she done fell from a tall building and her body's all looking broken, but she's really flexible, but her body's looking all broken. And then towards the end of the video, you see these black guys dressed up in these suits in this corporate building on the high floor, like they taking the place of the white man. But like I said in another video, they're not going to conquer white men. Actually, white men don't mind them being risen up, because they are not a threat to white men. Okay, they're not. Black women are a threat to white men. Brown women, not the black man. The black man has been at war with black women since before Egypt, okay? So white men have already, see, white Europeans, they know the history, you know, so they know that this black man is no threat to them, okay? But when you see them in the corporate office, you see them in a position like they're like these corporate white men, okay? And then at the end, you see this very tall, dark-skinned black male with this long black furry coat-looking thing on. It looked like he's risen up to be a king. But you don't see a black woman looking like a queen nowhere. The only thing I've seen is the black women wearing these black leather outfits, and they standing next to a mirror, like a mirror dimension, and they moving their hands around. And then when you look into their hands, it look like you see the red, black, and green, like Africa. But that's that Pan-Africanism stuff, you know. You don't see anywhere else where a black woman is risen up, but you see where this black man is risen up, okay? So pay attention to that video, and I will talk to you soon.